Hey guys, okay, so this is Vanessa, and we are going to start studying proteins. And I didn't find any amazing videos about this, so I'm just going to try and walk you through some of the most important information about proteins. Um, so first of all, what are proteins and why are they important? This is the question we're trying to answer. And you guys have probably heard of proteins, but usually what we're talking about when we talk about proteins is food. So you need to get enough protein, you eat eggs or fish or meat or beans or dairy products, okay? But in biology, protein is really referring to something else. It's referring to a type of molecule that runs kind of everything in our bodies. So in biology, proteins are the building blocks of every living thing on Earth. They're found in everything that's alive. Um, so what do proteins do? They come in a lot of different forms, in fact, trillions of different forms, and they have so many different jobs, we can't really cover them all. But generally, they provide your body with structure, communication, regulation, and maintenance. They are the reason that everything in your body functions the way it does. So, some examples here. Muscles that contract, insulin, which regulates your blood sugar, antibodies that fight off disease, hemoglobin that carries oxygen through your bloodstream, and all of these other things, enzymes that break down food, etc. Okay, so proteins are essential. If proteins, because of some genetic mutation or mishap, are not formed properly or at the right time in the right shape, all of these functions break down and you end up with some serious disease problems. Okay, so DNA. DNA is a job. It exists to tell the body how to form proteins. That's what DNA does for us. So that's our recipe for proteins. Now, proteins are made up of some smaller molecules called amino acids, and there are only really 20 common types of amino acids, and I'm not going to make you remember what they are, but we've got relatively few amino acids. And they're used in billions of different ways to form actual proteins. So we take all these amino acids and form all these proteins by putting them together in different ways. Now, the order and number of amino acids determines the type of protein. Okay, so how do we figure out what kind of protein we're making? Well, that comes back to our nucleotides, our C's, G's, T's, and A's on the DNA here. Okay, so these are our code, our secret code telling our body how to build the correct proteins. And here's how that process goes. So DNA lives here in the nucleus, right? It's kind of usually wound up like pasta inside the nucleus. Cytoplasm is the fluid that fills the rest of the cell. And that's where amino acids are. So then the problem is we need to figure out how to get that DNA from the nucleus out to the cytoplasm. And DNA does that by making partial copies of itself. So it'll take a little piece of your genetic code, like this piece or this piece or this piece, and it'll create something called RNA. So RNA is a partial piece of your genetic code, and it's basically half of the DNA. Like you've unzipped the DNA and you've only sent half of it out of the nucleus. Okay, so this RNA travels from the nucleus out to the cytoplasm. And when it gets to the cytoplasm, that's where it builds the proteins, because that's where it finds the amino acids. But it needs some help doing that. So when RNA leaves the nucleus, it meets up with organelles called ribosomes. So this is a ribosome. And what it does is it's almost like a protein printer. So it reads the codes on the RNA, and then each three letters, so like this one, this one, this one, and then this one, this one, this one, each one is a code for a different amino acid. So this ribosome would read this little section here. It would say CUG. Okay, CUG means I pull this red amino acid out of the cytoplasm and tack it onto this protein I'm building. So over time, you get more and more proteins, they fold in on each other, more amino acids, they fold in each other, and they create different shapes. So those RNA codes can turn 20 types of amino acids into trillions of types of proteins, and each protein has a different function or a different job, okay? They come in a lot of different sizes. Some are giant and complex, and some are small and simple. And I just wanted to show you this real quick. This is my favorite protein. It's called a motor protein. So in a cell, sometimes you need to get something from one place to another. And the only way to direct that is with proteins. So what happens is this guy is a protein. It literally walks along these tubules. So it builds these tubules as like highways for itself and then follows them and carries things from one part of the cell to another. So proteins are really fascinating, and they are the building blocks for all living things. So please let me know if you have any questions. It is important to understand essentially that DNA is the code for proteins. Proteins run everything. DNA divides itself into RNA, and that RNA provides the secret sort of code or recipe for proteins. And proteins are built out of amino acids. That's it for now. Have a great day. See you soon.